in Titusville, Florida. I have my lovely wife running the control board, and you probably notice you don't see Mark Marquette right now. You see myself, and of course, Carlton Bailey is back, and you probably remember him on Thursday's show, where we got to learn. I got to learn a lot more about you guys because I'm the newbie. Unfortunately, Mark was hospitalized earlier this morning or last night and this morning. I just got word that he is doing very well. And hopefully we'll see him shortly. So it's been kind of a crazy day today out here. Let's see here. So we're just trying to get things set up and situated. So bear with me for just a moment because obviously Marty is gone too. So Marty's not working the control board. Marty had to go take care of some family issues up in New York. So it's good old John, and we're here again with Carlton, and we're going to try our best to make Mark Marquette laugh, smile, and feel better. And maybe I'll get my wife in the background to have a laugh or two also. So hopefully. So I am verifying that I am not
got it
talking
going
to
on
myself. There we
mine,
go.
so
Yeah, there we are. Okay. Okay, I got the chat in there. It's loaded up, and so I'm John. You probably heard about me behind the scenes and never really got to see me. I'm normally a Twitch streamer, and but I was glad to have Mark Marquette kind of want me to join his program, and we'll try and add a little bit of flair and a little bit of changes to it. But we're going to do it very slowly, because obviously we're all kind of slow right now. Anything? Oh, by the way, welcome back again. Welcome back again. I've got to know this guy for the last couple of days, and full of stories and super entertaining. And I know you guys know him better than I do. But we are here today talking about John Glenn's return to space. Well, when he was in space.
when he was, yeah,
When he was in space.
second flight.
Second flight. You know, I found out something very interesting today. His birthday is July 18th. It's my birthday. Different year, but how did I not know that John Glenn's birthday was when he was born July 18th, 1921? But no, I'm 71. My wife's 79. 71.
Years old?
Yeah, well, born in 1971.
Oh, okay.
But 53, I believe I am now. 53.
Youngster.
So there's Dave Strange. Well, Carton, you're not getting on surprises. So yeah, Dave Strange. Yeah, he's like, okay, you must have surprised him. There's Gary. Hello, good afternoon. And we hope Mark is going to be feeling a lot better. But the great news of today is that we did speak with him a few hours ago, and he is doing quite well. So we just wanted to take it easy, hopefully rest up for a few days. But you know, we know Mark. He might be back soon. But there he is. Thanks, guys. There's Mark Marquette right there. Or that might be. Make sure that's not our buddy Marty. But I've had some 14-year-old hearts. Oh, there we go.
Well, take it easy, Mark. Things are in good hands with you away, and don't make us, handcuff you to your bed.
Right. Don't make us handcuff you to your bed. Yeah, because you know the ladies out front are always saying he's always moving. He's always on the go. Always, I don't know how many projects you have going on, but you must have quite a few. But good to see you, Mark, in the chat as well. And there's Tom Usiak. I see him quite a bit. Of course, behind the scenes, I get to see you guys up here and chat and talk, but never get to talk to you. But that's an excellent backup crew, he says, in there today. So thank you. We're a great backup crew. Come on, spur of the moment. We love the challenge, and I think we like being on cameras. Like I said, this is your second time this
week.
This week.
Well, within the last week.
Yeah. So I think we're loving what we do. or we're just full of ourselves sometimes.
And people are coming back.
And people are coming back. Look at all these people coming back to actually to chat and say hi. But yeah, Mark. So Mark's in the chat. So glad to have you in here, buddy, and here to make you proud. So we have a couple of. Let's see. I got some great notes here, and what is like. Hang on. There was a story that I read, and it was just this morning about John Glenn, and now I don't. Now, of course, I don't have the paper in front of me, but hang on. Yeah, 5 hours and the public excitement. Where is it? I cannot find it. I had it. I knew I should have marked it with a Sharpie, but it's okay. Commitment. Okay, well I can't find it, but I will have someone find it for me. And if I can hand you that right there, it was about John Glenn orbiting and the malfunction. So in chat, can you tell me possibly what is the anniversary? This is of STS 95 in 1998. What anniversary is this of the John Glenn, I believe, mission? Do you know?
Well, if it flew in 98, so that it would be 26 years.
Just 26 years. Does anyone know the anniversary? Because I know Mark had the scroll out, but I wonder if it was right. But I have that number down. It's actually a 6. But I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, I got they flew on the 29th of 90. STS 95 flew on the 29th of October 1998. Launched at 2:19 local. The 25th flight of Discovery, and it was the 92nd shuttle flight overall.
92nd shuttle flight.
He was the oldest person to orbit the Earth at 77. We've had older ones that go up and come right back down. So
Sure.
I still personally, my own opinion, not the museum's, he's still the oldest man. So, you know what was funny? A couple other firsts on that launch was that Pedro Duque was the first Spaniard to go into space.
Pedro Duque.
Duque, I think that's how.
Okay.
And as probably the only time I've ever seen it, the 45th Weather Squadron said there was going to be 100% chance of good weather that day.
100% chance of good weather. That's
And
unusual.
They never do that. So.
That's unusual.
Oh,
that's
a couple little
interesting.
fun facts.
That's interesting. Hand me those notes back. One more. I think you got that right there. Yeah, we're all trying to find fun facts about it, but I don't know if anyone guessed in the chat. Marcus Agman's piano shot. The STS-9 looks great. Oh, here we go. I'm reading the chats. Sorry, I have to wear my glasses. I knew I should have put it up on the monitor. I will do that next time. 19. So yeah, it's but all right, we'll just move on because apparently my note is the wrong paper. So you know, it happps.
I might have it in my
It happens when you go live. You know, all the paperwork's there, everything's ready to go. We got our buddy Marty. He's away, but he's remoted in. Everything's kind of going pretty smooth. As for spur of the moment entertainment, this is what you get with Stay Curious, you know. So we're glad. But so we have some photos and some images that I know we are interested in talking about, and I'm going to pop that up on the screen
You
right
want to
there.
throw out the question of the day first?
Yes. Do you have it?
I
ready?
have
Locked
a
and
question
loaded.
of the day. We're going to call it the FODSI question of the day in case it doesn't meet up to Marty's fine standards. And,
Marty has high standards
and
in his
he usually
trivia
has
questions.
the right answer. So, the shuttle Discovery, it was, what did I say, the 25th flight, and the 92nd shuttle flight in the program. What else did Discovery do? Discovery had another first on this launch. Another first for the entire space shuttle program, and see if anybody knows what it was.
That'll be interesting. And feel free to write what you think down in chat. If we have to repeat the question, we will. But it'll be interesting to see if even Marty chimed in on this. You know, it's the roles got reversed. You know, he normally throws out the trivia questions. Now let's see if he can get the trivia questions. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, how's it
I
feel to
would-
be out there? Marty's probably sitting on the couch, feet up.
We miss you, Marty, though.
Miss you though, drink in
Mark.
hand, and especially Mark. But you know, I'm glad Mark's in there, and he is, and he's doing well. But I'm going to move over to that screen. Don't know what happened there. So that's a remote issue. But I will hit this right here. How did that work? There we go. Look at this. We're figuring out the buttons. Okay, we're figuring out the buttons, and of course, Carleton brought some images here for us today. That way, to help us with the show. And of course, he has a lot of information and a lot to talk about for each of these photos. And you know, and you guys know him. And when I first got introduced, and I realized he was a photographer of who photographed a photo that my wife keeps on her phone and on her computer. And I that Thursday when I found that out, I was blown away, and I've been just so impressed talking with Carleton throughout the day. It has been a joy, and if you guys could have a one-on-one with him, I think you would really enjoy the stories and the knowledge and the life experiences that this man right here has, and I can't wait to talk more with him throughout the year. You know, so we're not going anywhere. I don't think you're moving. You're not moving any.
Yeah,
anytime
no,
soon.
I am gonna be in my house till they drag me out.
Yeah, that's us. That's me too. We talked about South Carolina. I just moved 3 times, and I'm done. I'm done. We love Titusville. We love the area around here, and I'm done with moving. No. So enough about us. Yes, we move. I know.
Point
I
out
talk
first
a lot.
the green screen that you pushed.
Yeah.
That's a picture that I believe that Mark Usiak took of the launch, and I just want to make sure
He
credit
gets
where
credit.
well, being a photographer,
Yeah.
we don't get much credit sometimes. So
And you guys should get
I want to
credit
get
on your photo you take. My goodness.
make sure Mark gets credit for the green screen
Mark
picture.
Usiak. Okay. All right. That's beautiful. By the way, beautiful photo. And there we go. We got our next one there.
This was when they come in. The crews would always come in like 3 weeks or so beforehand and do what they call the terminal countdown demonstration test, or
Okay.
TCTD.
Okay.
And that way they would go out there, and they would always meet with the press on one day and sit out and they would familiarize themselves with the pad,
Mhm.
and then come down for one-on-one press, not one, well, one-on kind of, and we'd all line up and people would ask them questions. Then the next day they would actually suit up, board the orbiter, and do a simulated countdown as if it was going to launch, and then halt the launch just prior to
Just prior.
ignition. And that way they would find out what, if anything, was going to be broken or leaks.
That's interesting.
And
Wow.
then they'd have 2 or 3 weeks to fix it before
Right.
the actual launch,
Right.
or have to stand down or do what. Usually it would show any problems that
Right.
might be there.
A rehearsal,
That's
for
right.
sure.
So they would. It was always a
Let's see.
pleasure to go out and meet these and be,
Wow.
10, 15, 20 feet away from the astronauts, and this crew, especially with John Glenn.
Lynn, just look at him. I mean, it's just for you guys to have this experience. Of course, me and my wife, we are very new into the space program, just learning about it, and being here in Florida, it is just for us. It has just been mind blowing, and I know you guys have just been absorbing all of this, and you've experienced everything close up. Like I'm not going to show the photo yet, but there's a photo in here. There's a couple in here that you've taken that have
People
just blown me away. You're so close.
They don't want history. They want to know what's going on today and what it's going to do for them tomorrow.
Yeah.
But they don't want to know how we got there and how many. People don't realize that John Glenn, these people were fighter pilots in the war
Right.
before they were astronauts.
Correct. Yeah,
And,
they were
there's-
military. They were military before they became astronauts. Then taken on by NASA and going through their training program and what they do it's just mind blowing. and
So that's why I like to come down here and show a little bit about the history, promote it, have you guys call in, write in, phone in, send in, ask questions. You can get me on my page, and I'll be glad to help you out there too.
yeah, yeah. And this is what's great about the American Space Museum here in Titusville, Florida, is that you can experience the beginning of space engineering and the marvels here, where it began. And this is where
The birthplace of space.
it is, and to be so close up to everything, and and with the tours, and they're explaining everything, and you get such a much better knowledge. I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, by the way, I mean, I wish I came here first before I went to the Kennedy Space Center. I really do. Kennedy Space Center, I do love, but it's not really explained. I don't know what I was looking at. Now, coming to the American
You
Space
have real
Museum, I've
people to
learned.
talk to here.
Yeah, you got people to talk to. They're knowledgeable, and I've actually I know what I'm looking at now, or what it actually does, what it makes sense. So for me, I'm a noob, and I really do love it. So that's why I've been infatuated with all of you guys. So beautiful photo. Did you take this one?
All these in the little slideshow that we're going to go through. And it was back in the days of film, so we're talking, what we say, that's 26 years ago. They've held up pretty good, the negatives have, and but they're not sharp but that's what makes them so historically nice looking, I think.
They look great. Oh.
Then 3 weeks later, if there's no hips or hiccups, then the crew all fly in their T-38s. Wow. And they land, they get out, and Kurt Brown, who was the commander on this flight, would get out and start, and he'd introduce everybody to the news media, and they were there to take pictures. They'd line up, and they would each say something, and like there was a Japanese here, and they'd say, and they'd have an interpreter kind of thing, so you knew what they were saying. And the crew sometimes they would allow the news media to ask them final questions. They line up for pictures. We get pictures of them, and then their significant others, spouses, or whatever, would be off to the side and be with them, and the NASA officials would take them off so they could go into final quarantine and get ready for launch, which was generally in 3 days later or so.
Okay, I have to ask, for you to get these type of shots, do you have to have like a press pass?
Yes.
I was wondering.
You had to have, you'd apply for the press credentials.
Okay.
And I believe I had it down, for the John Glenn launch, there was 3,750 media requests. I couldn't find
Holy cow.
I couldn't find an actual list of how many that actually showed up.
Yeah.
In reference that, like, the figures I saw, I had 3,493 media attended the Apollo 11 launch. 3,750 asked for 95. In comparison, STS-1 had 2,707 accredited, so not nearly as many.
You're right.
STS-26, the reflight after Challenger, had 2,468. And surprisingly enough, STS-135, the last one, the only figure I could have, only had 1,585 media accredited for it. Now, a lot of people, by then, the internet was there. A lot of people could just cover it from their offices, so to speak. So, but yeah, that's, you would put into NASA, you would have a legitimate organization send in a letter on their letterhead to NASA, and the people at NASA would look at it, and if they deemed you worthy, I mean, that's not the real. I mean,
did they ever ask for pictures that you've
they,
taken before?
They would go and they'd ask before the internet. They would get you to check
your
out.
Pictures was your resume.
Their pictures were your resume.
Yeah, that would be an exciting job to have. I would love to.
And they could see the magazines that were coming out, and if they didn't know who you were, at one point there was a book, and listing all the so-called legitimate news organizations in the world, so to speak. And if you weren't in there, you didn't cover.
That's interesting. I didn't mean to go off topic there.
These
are just things that pop into my head that, like, if I don't ask it, I'm going to forget it. Okay.
We could do this all year long.
I'm going to forget it, and I love talking about it. I'm going to move on to the next photo there. Oh,
there he is.
We know who that is.
He got up and said a few words that this is a couple of days before the actual flight. he's in his little flight suit there, and by golly, at 77, I think that's what he was, 70.
Was it 77?
He was, I'm not even near that, and I'm not as coherent as he
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
So he was fit for space.
Wow, 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 man, that's beautiful. But just to take those shots, I'm sorry that as well,
And that's Kurt Brown. He was the commander of the flight.
Okay,
So he was in charge of the Senator.
okay.
Well, and the whole crew, actually.
And I was looking at
He
on the
was,
shirt,
this was
yeah.
his third or fourth
Brown,
flight.
25th. Okay. Wow.
This is the actual crew walkout. They would don their suits. We'd go over to the O&C building. The Astro van would be there. Back then, they would just kind of walk out in a crowd, and then just one by one, they would get into the bus. Now,
Right.
later on in the flights, Eileen or Pam Melroy decided, oh, let's stop and let the people have a shot. But back then, it was just they would walk, and you try to get all of them in the same frame, all of them
Yeah.
where you could see all of their faces and all their, their reactions.
And they look. I mean, just
They look so
look how
happy.
excited
They look
they
like
are.
they're, going to see opening night on Broadway.
Well, they are celebrities.
They are.
and of course heroes as well.
They
are. Which I absolutely love. And what a great shot. I wonder if that's the one, the van there, the carrier. That's in there.
It might be the one that's at the visitor center.
I wish there was a way to
Tom
find out.
Usiak would know that.
Would Tom Nusiak know? Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
See if that would be a trivia question.
I should know, but
if he knows, Well, yeah, if you know, you know. Okay.
all right.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
3 hours later, we put the remote cameras out the day before.
My God.
They're on. Some people had timers. Some people
Yeah.
just had sound meters. And theoretically, when the engine noise started, so did your cameras.
So did your camera.
That's how it worked on paper, anyway. Didn't always work like that in the field. You were at the mercy of Mother Nature. You still are with remotes. They've come a long way since then, but you had to focus on things and put everything was manual and film, and there you go. You couldn't
It's
take
beautiful.
a test picture to see if you got the right
No,
exposure.
no.
You just had 36 frames that you better get it in there, and
And you're snapping quick.
they're
you're
going
snapping
3 or 4
quick.
frames a second.
And and of course, I obviously you feel this. I mean,
Well, we're 3 miles away. This one was probably 1,500 feet from the launch pad, this camera. We leave them there the day before.
Yeah.
We're actually at this, like the green screen picture, that's about 3.5 miles away.
And that's
where we're physically standing.
Amazing.
People 1,200 feet from
That's
that would
amazing.
just have their eardrums burst. And
Wow, and you can feel everything from right down. Because
I have-
never got to see it.
I've been on the VAB roof, and you could feel your insides shaking.
Crazy. It's beautiful, beautiful picture. Ah,
This was over by, that would have been south of the pad. I don't know. I don't do conduct. But Tom Usiak reminded me today that he and I were like the only ones to set up in this one spot.
Yeah.
And I was tied into his trigger. He had a Hasselblad. I had 35 millimeter. And this is just the best of the best. And again, you have 36 shots, and hopefully
You
you
go to
get something.
ground.
This would be, you want it way up in the top. You see the white smoke,
Yeah.
which would be from the main engines. The darker smoke is from the solid motors, and it lifting off and
It's gorgeous.
picture, not a cloud in the sky. They were right. There was
you
100%,
I was about to say this is when the 100% weather forecast came in. 100%.
not a cloud in the sky.
It is picture perfect. Absolutely picture perfect. That's beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you could not ask for, it's a postcard
Right.
shot. It's
You're right. You don't see any clouds. These
No.
last three photos.
No, it looks like a Chris Cali painting.
That's beautiful.
You know, you couldn't ask for better pictures.
Thank goodness.
Now, this is a shot I took from, it was just a camera that I put there, and I just kind of like started it and hoped for the best. It shows the number of people that were at the press site there down by the clock and
Yeah.
the flag, with it going up the direction it was going. But it gives you kind of an idea of the crowd size that was there out on the little ridge there in front of the clock and the flag.
I want to ask you another way. You may or may not know the answer. Maybe chat knows the answer. As this was happening, could you actually drive your vehicle to those areas back then?
We would have to, yeah, we would be able to drive to the press site and over to the cafeteria like we
Okay.
can now. But anything out after that, no. That was when the little men with the flashing lights would come after you.
Like your Area 51 guys, huh?
Right.
Oh, yes.
Now, this was my favorite shot from there because it's my favorite selfie. And yes, that's what I look like 26
You
years
look
ago.
great.
Well,
You
yeah, I was half the size I am now, I think. And I was standing there and over to the would have been in front of us here. Everybody was crowded around Ted Williams and Tom Brokaw because Tom Brokaw was interviewing Ted Williams, who had been John Glenn's wingman during the Korean War. And I look over and I see this guy in a pink shirt. Not many guys, I guess, can get off wearing pink shirts and white sports.
Well, this one could.
And I recognized him. I went over and started talking to him, and there was nobody around. They were all over interested in Ted Williams. So I talked to him for a few minutes, and people went, "Oh, Carleton's talking to this guy. He must be somebody."
I bet no one knows who he is in chat. I bet you guys don't know who this person is.
So yeah, I won't tell you who it is, but
I
you guys
bet you won't know.
chat in and see if you know who it is.
Yeah,
But
if you know, put it in chat. Who's in the pink shirt?
He did sign a couple things for me real quick, and then as soon as people realized that I'm talking to somebody that he would maybe be bigger than Ted Williams, then they all started crowding around him, and he said, no, guys, look, I'm trying to work here. And he actually was on assignment for a major newspaper magazine, and I sort of opened the door to, trouble me, but it was a great honor to meet him and talk to him.
That's fabulous. That's so cool, by the way. And someone got it. Mark.
Well,
Mark got it.
Yeah, it was Jimmy Buffett, and
he's that close to Jimmy Buffett.
He was there.
Come on.
His hand, and he was there for Rolling Stone magazine.
I've never.
He was actually there as a reporter for Rolling Stone.
You
never know who you're going to see out there. Sometimes the people you meet are cooler in some ways than the astronauts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's a great photo. And you look good in the photo.
Back when mullets were in.
Hey, I wish I had it. I wish I could grow a mullet. Okay? I wish I could grow. It looks, from the camera, it looks like I have green hair. Well, maybe I am. I'm preparing for Halloween. All right, we have.
Then it stayed up there for, I forgot. It landed on November 7th. So that would have been a few days later.
A few days later, yeah, not too long.
I'm not in. And it landed at 12:04 p.m. in the afternoon. Nice. And again, it was a picture-perfect landing, but at launch, there was some little questions that we'll find out later and see, because at launch, and Mark Usiak noticed, everybody kind of noticed that there was, by this time, they had put in a drag chute. Mm-hmm. And that's spelled C-H-U-T-E, Mr. Marquette.
C-H-U-T-E.
Well, inside joke.
Okay.
Anyway, at launch, the door that covered the drag chute, and I believe they have a drag chute door here at the museum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but at launch, at ignition, when it was jumping off the pad, the chute door popped off. And Mark Usiak noticed that it actually hit and struck one of the engine bells. Now, but nobody, it was very quick. So most people didn't see it, most people didn't notice it, but we were all like, what is it? So we wondered if it was going to influence anything. The strange, ironic thing is on his first Friendship 7 flight, he had problems with the chute in the back where it didn't, the straps didn't.
It didn't like deploy, or
it didn't pop off when he was supposed to, so they weren't sure what was going to happen when he came into re-entry. They were pretty assured that when the door was empty and the door was off, that they weren't going to have any problems coming back because it was a low impact area for heating and things. So it made it back, and I think we got a picture later on coming up to. And then at the wheel touched down,
Oh,
by
like I was
now,
talking about.
by now the door, you can see the door up at the top, just under the vertical stabilizer. That's where the chute would normally get. There's like a little explosive canister that would shoot out and pop out and pull the drag chute out. They did not fire the drag chute because they weren't sure exactly if anything in space might have harmed it or not. So they just kind of used the brakes and the speed brakes and stopped by itself.
Yeah.
Then they would go up and turn
And
it
it doesn't
around.
look like it's a big hatch, but that thing's
It doesn't look
it's
like, you know, you look
huge.
at this thing and you go like, it's huge, and then you get next to it and it looks like it's made of cardboard and cotton and the things they
How
make.
is it? How is this
How
holding
does
up?
it go to space? It's not
Yeah.
even like, doesn't look like an airplane.
It doesn't. That's you go to NASA. You look at this thing like it looks like paper. You know. Oh.
And then they would go up, stop, wheel stop. They would take a little toe and turn it around and then bring it back down to where we were. And that, I guess, is Kurt Brown in the commander's window. Now, it's either Kurt Brown or one of the people that went in afterwards to safe it. By now, the crew was still in there and had not come out, so it's possible. And the guy in the window, you can see, kind of, he does have a mustache, and he does look like he's got some face, sort of like he's been wearing an oxygen mask or something. So it's probably Kurt Brown in the window. That's a shot you don't normally see.
That's an incredible shot.
And it gives you an idea of how big the windows are and how big the orbiter is.
Absolutely enormous. And absolutely. Here we go.
All right, so here, when it goes down, they get it all safe, and now they bring the lift out to check on the chute door and see what exactly was there, and they need to photograph it and you know, identify everything and totally get all the info and all the shots just to verify it and keep a record of it before they start digging into it and see what happens. So that kind of gives you an idea also how big the vertical stabilizer is and the engines and kind of the
It's
ohms
pretty big.
pods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Standing
even
next to
even the
a
ohms
person.
pods are fairly big.
My gosh.
And that's
There
a
it
little bit
is.
closer. There's the door right above, and I think that's one of the ohms pod engines there. And you can see the little guy with the, I guess it's one of the old 8mm digital cameras.
Yeah.
And you can see the door right under the vertical stabilizer there, and the black tiles around it, the white padding, the white blanket tiles on the vertical stabilizer. And that's the door. It just looks like a box that you put in your yard for ducks and squirrels.
You know, Carl, that's what I was about to say. It looks like a box.
Mhm.
It's like it's
It's the most advanced system in the world.
That's impressive.
And this is a shot that I got inside. That shows the chute
in there.
still wrapped up. I'm not sure exactly. I believe the thing in the bottom right might be the little explosive canister. Somebody might know different. But the door would pop off, the canister would blow, pull the chute out, it would unfurl and stop it. But that's a picture of it as it was still in the orbiter after it landed.
My goodness.
So you go out there and people look for pictures that everybody wants to see, but I've always thought outside the box and say, well, look, I need to take something different because everybody's got the other picture. I need something different so somebody else will want to use it.
Yeah. And people do. And I'm sure they have.
So
I find it fascinating.
And then they would go out, once it was safe to go out there, again, this was his flight, the forward reaction control systems, I believe, they go out with the little sniffers and check to make sure all the residual gases and fumes and everything.
It's evaporated pretty much. You know,
right, and it was safe to bring the crew out.
Yeah, it's safe to pull them out.
So, and
That's
we were all
probably
on
a
a
good point.
flatbed truck, maybe 100 feet away or so. A select few news media. Lucky.
Yeah,
Very lucky.
just
This
looking at how
was
close you
not
are.
done every launch, and it was not very many people ever got to do this.
That's fascinating. Wow.
And that's just sort of an overall wide shot to show what it looked like prepping his his orbiter, when he came back, they've got the stairs up there. It took the crew a little bit, about an hour, trying to get everything ready, readjusting to landing back on Earth, and they came out. They didn't really meet the press. They met the NASA officials, and then they put him in a bus and drove him away.
And off they go.
But it's still, to be able to be this close. I mean, this is like, I mean,
Yeah, it's
you know, nobody was near Friendship 7 when it landed, kind of thing,
and you're
and you're right there. This is history. This is
It is.
this is what my life is all about.
God, it's exciting. Oh
Yep.
man, that's goosebumps.
I don't give a, and there's the crew wandering around: Kurt Brown, John, and then Stan Golden, who was NASA administrator at the time. I don't know, his expression is one of, I'm not sure whether he had someplace else to be, or
Let's just say maybe the sun. Well, no, the sun couldn't have been in his eyes, but yeah, I understand.
I just take the pictures. I don't ask.
You take the
questions.
pictures. Yeah, might make a great meme.
But
meme.
the fact that,
however that is,
you know, the fact that this is going on, and we're out there, and I was able to do it, and I was shooting for Aviation Week, so that anybody would, Harry Colcom. By then he had gone on, I think, and Craig Covalt was on, but it was that crew that.
That's amazing.
I was able to do these things.
You are, it's fascinating. And then to our, I know this is probably our last photo on here on the list, and we all know who that is.
And he does look happy.
I mean, wouldn't you be? To have his to do what he has done, and he lived a hard life too. I mean,
I smile like that just when I wake up in the morning.
I wish I could smile like that when I wake up in the morning. You
That's
know,
half the battle,
how many pots of coffee does it take to get to that smile, or
I'm
maybe a beer or two? I'm
I
probably
met
right
the
there.
gentleman during this launch. We didn't have like physical contact with him,
Sure,
but I had been to at least 2 or 3 other press conferences he was at that we got to have. One was like a one-on-one with about a dozen journalists on one side of a table.
Yeah.
He was 5 feet away on the other side, or 3 feet away on the other side. Got to meet him 2 or 3 times, so it was just. I think I take my life for granted too much, that I've done these things and I just kind of, well, I've been there, done that, and I don't.
But I'm sure you shock yourself sometimes.
I do
with
with what I've done.
Exactly. I bet you probably, when you go home sometimes or look on the computer, you see that special picture that pops up, and you're thinking, "Wow, that's mine."
I'm going through 40 years worth of
Yeah.
negatives and digital files, and I'll find something going like, I don't remember going in to see the Hubble telescope before it flew.
That would be mind blowing.
It 3 times.
Oh my! Wow.
In the clean room.
Wow.
Like, and we've taken other pictures we'll talk about one
Wow.
day that didn't.
We need to have an episode of
didn't-
Carleton Bailey's pictures. You know.
We could do a month.
Man, it would be great. We'll fit you in there somehow. We're gonna make it work. I think Mark Marquette would probably love that too, because I'm sure you guys are probably as fascinated with these photos. I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's new to me, and I love seeing it, and I love having someone knowledgeable explain what I'm looking at. You know.
Well, according to this just in.
Yes.
Mark Marquette, our roving in-bed reporter,
Yes.
announced that 3 Takonauts,
Takonauts
were just launched to their Heavenly Palace space station. Now, when I read that, talking to a man in hospital, that didn't sound real good. But their space station is the Heavenly Place.
Okay.
So
I
now
would
we
have
have
took that differently. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay.
So now we have 13 humans on orbit.
13.
13.
13.
And 3 new ones just went to their Heavenly Place.
Oh my God!
That's Mark. You scared me there.
Right?
You scared me there. I'm
glad you took a look there. I just now saw it right there on the list.
I'm not gonna.
That's the Heavenly Place.
I saw that.
And we don't need to see that with. Well, at least we know
I
Mark is in
know.
there. You know.
But I'm sure he's got the nurses taking good care of him.
Absolutely. Maybe he's eating good too, right? Eating better, you know.
Well, better than his Mexican food that he's always eating.
Oh, Mexican.
Anyway, sorry,
gosh.
I digress.
All right. I know where I'm going after the show today. You know.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going after the show today. But yeah, anything else that you'd like to add?
Well,
I know we're right about maybe another it's 4:41, and I'm glad we got to cover a
I
good bit of
haven't
stuff.
seen anybody whether they've
Oh,
answered the.
well, what was the trivia? Let's redo that trivia question.
This flight was the first to have a T-5 hold due to a private aircraft entering the KSC. Yes, Steve Jokum, it was, and it was also it was held. There was two holds, one with some a minor shuttle problem, and then they did hold for an aircraft. I actually got to fly in the shuttle, not this one, but I was actually up in the shuttle, in the shuttle chase plane, whatever,
Yes.
during a launch, the one that would go up there,
yes,
and make sure and chase people out if they
Yes.
got in the area. Now, it wasn't a
cool.
T-38. It was just a regular. I think it was a Piper or something.
yeah.
But they had to get close enough to the other aircraft to physically see and identify the person actually flying, so that they didn't land, run away, and say, "We know that was your plane," and say, "Well, somebody stole my plane."
That was on my plane.
So basically, these planes had to be tip to tip, and the one I was in was at a night flight.
No.
Now, fortunately, there wasn't anybody intruding into the area, but I did. It was a night flight. I was in the NASA chase plane, so to speak. So we were almost directly over the pad when it was about 1,500 feet off the pad when it launched.
Oh, wow.
As it went downrange, we had to follow it downrange just to make sure nobody incurred into it, and so we couldn't keep up with it anymore.
So cool.
But it was
so you
like
had to be the chase plane.
we were. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I would like to live a little bit of that life for sure. I mean,
It was nice.
Oh my goodness.
It was nice. Anyway, so the trivia question was Shuttle Discovery that was. I keep losing my notes. It was the.
I'm the same way over here. I got my
25th
wrong sheet
flight
anyway.
of Discovery. It was a 90-second shuttle flight, all after in the history in the program.
History of the program.
Discovery did something on this flight that no other shuttle had done before, and I don't see anybody's listed it.
You know what? We
Steve, you don't know? Steve Jokum, you don't know?
No.
I just noticed
This
that
is
you
great.
jazzed up the Stay Curious.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we got to have pumpkins on there. Yeah, it's pumpkins and of course a little bit of stars onto the Stay Curious logo up top there.
The flight was the first to have T-5 hold launch. Now this was actually flew into space. Discovery did something as it flew into space and stayed in space. It was the first shuttle into space with this.
I think this is.
Did I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's why nobody knows it.
Oh, well, we can make up our own stuff here. All right.
So, we'll give them a few more minutes until we end this program and see if anybody else wants to guess.
Yeah. Anyone else on the chat? Feel free to go.
The other orbiters all did it. Every other orbiter did it except for Columbia and Challenger.
Okay. Wow. See, I can't wait. I can't wait to find out.
On their successful launches, Challenger and Columbia. That'll be a clue. Challenger and Columbia, on their successful launches. Still.
I mean, someone is. Yeah. That's our backup producer is in the back there, director. So I actually looked at the article here that I found interesting, going back to the John Glenn orbiter. Excuse me. That there was a warning light that went off that signaled the spacecraft had a problem. Like my throat.
That happens to anybody that sits in that seat. I think it's good.
That's why I'm glad I had some more. Leave it to be live when you do this and choke out. But, well, it's this thing here. As I'm dealing with the throat. Warning light went off on the spacecraft. signaling a potential problem with the heat shield that they didn't want to tell Glenn about, and trying to recover from this.
This is a Friendship 7.
Yeah, and so that's what I found interesting, that there was a problem. They didn't want him to be panicked, but later they did tell him. So can you imagine this alarm's going off? He's not. They're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And okay, after it's all good, okay, yeah, this could have been disastrous.
Well, I think, but I think he kind of started to realize something was wrong. If I got my history correct, that when they told him he was coming back early,
Yeah.
and they said, "Well, we're going to bring you back early," then he started thinking, "Well, maybe this flashing light, this alarm,
Wouldn't be.
let's have a talk. Let's do a face to face."
Yeah. So that was just an article that I pulled up, just learning more about that, and you know, and that would just be scary.
Well,
that'd
yeah,
be frightening.
especially if they're telling you,
Stuff breaking down on you while you're up there, and worried about coming home.
"We've got Steve Joke. I'm still stumped."
Sweet. So we're
And also, well, another trivia fact about it was also the final shuttle flight with an astronaut from the pre-shuttle flight days to fly in space.
oh wow. Oh,
But that's not the trivia question. But it could have been.
it could have been that.
I should have saved it.
Should save that. That'd be a good trivia question.
Hit that 5-second delay.
Yeah. Can you pause that real quick so we can hold the stream?
Oh, no, it wasn't the Ohms engine.
Good night,
Well,
Greg.
I don't know. It could have been
Where's my
burning the Ohms engine for boost assist, but I don't know. Maybe this is too trivia. Maybe
Maybe I think we're too far advanced for we're really good. You know, maybe we'll write it down later.
Or Wikipedia
well-
could have been wrong.
Or Wikipedia or Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Maybe we got the information wrong, so we can sound.
You mean I'm
better.
not supposed to use AI to create questions?
Well,
No.
isn't that what we do? You know? No. Well, yeah, maybe. You know.
But yeah, it was
Right.
it was one of the best flights. I also got to meet Kurt Brown before he flew on this flight, and I'm sort of indebted to him now. Kurt Brown is one of the nicest men I've ever met.
Wow.
I was at the press site for another launch, and I ran into one of Mark Usiak's friends. And as soon as I told her, you know Mark Usiak, and she grabs me, she says, "Oh my God, you know Mark." Like, who doesn't know Mark Usiak, right?
I can't wait to meet
Well, it was this nice little lady named June Lockhart, Lassie's mom, and she was at the press site. Yeah, just dropping names left and right here. Well, Kurt Brown walked up, and I took a picture of Kurt and June together. And I, of course, one with me, and I have that picture hanging with Kurt signed it and June had signed it. And I met up with June a few years later, and she signed the one to Kurt. And I met him at the Space Center one day, and I gave it to him at the signing, and he looked at it, and his wife was sitting next to him, kind of does this to his wife, and says, "See, I told you I got to hang out with movie stars."
Oh my gosh!
And so he's sort of like it was a way to, he remembers me because of it. So you do nice things, and nice
well,
things
you're
come
memorable.
around.
I'm going to remember you. You're memorable. You're definitely memorable. Have you met any local? I mean, astronauts just going around town?
Yes.
Around Titusville, just kind of just walking around. Have you ran into anybody?
Well, I used to help run the photo lab at the time it was Eckerd's. It's now CBS up in Titusville,
I remember in
off
Eckerd's,
of Garden Street.
Okay.
And Lauren Shriver lived here in Titusville, and he would bring in his kids' science project photos.
Oh.
And I would get to talk to Lauren Shriver. When I worked at the CVS in Cocoa Beach, managing that,
Okay.
all the families would stay in Cocoa
Excuse me.
Beach.
Right.
I met everybody from Bonnie Dunbar to, it was an acid administrator. I can't think of his name now, but I met a lot of people, and they would come in. I would give them pictures of their flights before NASA would. I had one come in right after he had landed the orbiter, and I said, "You can't be in here." And he said, "Well, if NASA doesn't know." So, yeah, I used to run into him all the time, and
That's great.
someone would try to avoid me, I think. But if you go to
Yeah.
Zorella's now, you'll always run into that.
Oh.
But the CVS up there, yeah, he was one of them that Lauren Shriver would always come in, and I'd get to talk to him a lot, and
That's
it was
amazing.
pretty cool because he lived here.
See where we're at, and see why Titusville, Florida is such a wonderful place, and see why the American Space Museum is such a great place to hang out at. If you think we're having fun, there's people out there having fun, and of course learning a lot about the space program, which is where my wife and I enjoy spending our time. So, because hey, I'm going to become just as knowledgeable as you guys, okay? And then I'm really going to get in the conversation big time in chat. I'll tell you that, and stump you. You know, and
I
stump
think we've stumped him. We've already got Dave Stange and Steve Jokum.
You got
Tell us, get on with it. All right.
Okay.
Now I'm going to tell
They're
you,
saying we
and then you
chat
two
too
can
much.
go fact check me, as they like to say.
Fact check.
This was the first space shuttle orbiter to fly into space with the meatball on it.
The meatball on it.
It did not have the worm on it.
Oh.
It had the meatball on it.
Okay.
There we go. This is why you watch this
According
program.
to my sources.
I believe it.
Now,
I believe
you
it.
guys go fact check me, and if I'm wrong, I'll buy y'all a drink.
Yeah. God, I hope you're wrong.
So do I.
You said-
So do I.
Oh man. Well, that's great. That's great.
We'll
And
have like
look at that.
8,000 viewers by tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Free
people are
drinks.
gonna love you. I mean, people are gonna
So-
love you. Hey, you're wrong. What bar are we heading out to? No, I'm sorry, Mexican restaurant.
No,
You know.
no.
You know. You wanted that.
Zorellas or BB Rads or
Yeah. Oh,
some-
BB Rads.
BB Rads.
BB
Oh,
Rads. I'd like to try that again.
Zorellas is the place to go. Anyway, enough of.
Okay, I know. We just, talk. We just talk
Dave,
a lot.
Dave Stange. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah, oh, Dave, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, this is top-notch trivia.
All right. Well, I try.
Hey, I love
okay?
it. I think it's great. I think it's great. Great, awesome job today, guys. Thank you, Gary. All right, I know we got to wrap it up here, and guys, I really want to appreciate you hanging out with Carlton and I, and of course, I'm glad that we saw Mark Marquette into the chat, and of course, Marty, I hope you're doing well. I think he's been remoting into our session. I see my other monitor all weirded out, but someone's been messing with something. But thanks for your assistance too, Samantha, my lovely wife. Thank you for helping.
We got
as
Connie
well.
and Anita running the zoo. I mean, the museum.
Oh yeah,
while
yeah,
we're
the zoo. Yeah.
with us here.
Anita, I think they've been doing a great job.
They have.
You know?
They have.
And,
They've kept. They've kept it running, kept it open, so that we could do what we needed to
do
do.
what we had to do. We got in here early, and look at the support. Look at there's a little bug there. Look at the support you got.
That's right.
But anything else you want to add?
No, I can't think of anything.
Everybody else. I mean, we have a lot of names in there, but everyone, trust me, I saw you, and I appreciate you watching our stream today and just hanging out with Carlton and I. And it's been a blast to guest host for Mark Marquette, though we can't ever fill his shoes, obviously.
We needed his little cheat sheet because I'm not sure. I
I
don't know.
I don't either. I don't have the
I
cheat
think
sheet.
it was over there.
I can get a cheat sheet somewhere.
Well, no, because the
Mark,
final say so. The
where's the
final
cheat
frontier. There it is. I don't know the
I know.
the goings.
I don't either. That's all I got.
Monologue open. Oh, the closing monologue.
Oh, here's
There
the
we go.
closing. Hang on.
Oh,
No, this isn't not. Nope, he doesn't say this.
No, that's not it. That's
Oh my! It's the
But we're
bridge.
here to bridge the space
between us. So stay curious, my friends, and thanks for watching. And we will see you hopefully maybe tomorrow. You might get to enjoy some more
Stay well.
entertainment.